So now we have arrived at the most exciting part of this bootcamp. As you have learned what a starting point is in an automation, let's set up an automation and learn how to operate them well. So I'm going to start out with one called My Contacts, which can go from the Chrome plugin, import a CSV file, webhooks, and from My Prospects. I'm going to focus on people in the UK, and I wanted to start with somebody respond on LinkedIn or email. So the first thing I'm going to do is to give it a name. So we're going to call it Demo Sales Hub, and I'm going to save it. Then the reason why I want to do that is I want to start out by showing you a function if you're using Pipedrive or HubSpot. So under settings, there is a very, very important setting right here that enables you to sync on reply directly to HubSpot or Pipedrive. So once somebody are replying, we're going to automatically create them in HubSpot, copy over the entire email and LinkedIn communication as a node, so you can see it in HubSpot or Pipedrive. Now that we have set that up, we are ready to build our automation. So depending on your scenario, we see many different ways. If the data comes in with a LinkedIn profile, well, then we can do LinkedIn. So we can go out and say, okay, let's auto visit the profile. Then we can set the system to wait 1 day as an example. Then we can send them a connection request. So if you have any templates saved, you can use those. Otherwise, you can write one right here. So I'm going to put in hi first name. I'm going to write my short connection request that is relevant to my ICP and persona right here. Now, what we often recommend is to do the following. Say if the email is verified, then do yes or no. So if the email is not verified, we want to put a small delay because we want to give them time to accept our connection request. So typically put 3 to 4 days. Then after 3 to 4 days, we're going to try, if you're connected, to send a LinkedIn message. So you design your entire LinkedIn message. If you already saved it as a template, you can reuse it from right here. And then you hit apply. Then you can put in delays, and you typically will have 4 to 5 LinkedIn messages with delays between. So let's put 2 days, another LinkedIn message, and so on and so forth. So I'm just gonna, in reality, you will do that to make it shorter and not let you watch an entire video about that. We say, if they haven't connected, in the end of my automation, I put in LinkedIn withdrawal request. So we keep a healthy balance. If we did find an email, I will, after my connection request, I would typically say wait 1 hour. And the reason why I do that is they'll see your connection request if they are on LinkedIn and active. And once they get your email, they'll remember your name and see your email and have a higher likelihood to respond to you. So I put in the email. I'm just gonna go a little bit too fast here, so I'm just gonna do it again. So I put in my email, and then I can put a small delay and say, okay, after 2 days, I'm going to do a LinkedIn message. So again, if I had it saved, I could reuse that. And then I'm going to put delays, email delays, LinkedIn messages, delays, emails, and so on and so forth, and build out my entire campaign. Now, typically what we recommend is also, and also to do on the no side, is if they don't respond to us, we want to take the function and assign a tag. So we create one here called demo. I'm just going to create the demo tag and hit apply. So basically, I will be able, in the end of the day, to go to my prospects and search by this tag once the campaign is done, and then I can re-enroll them into another automation, which is very powerful. Second part is, as the automation goes along, we're just going to save it. Then you're able to show stats, like how many people are queued in, how many are going down. There will show up stats as well over every aspect once you enroll people in. So that's very important to know, and you'll be able to click the small eye to see, okay, who is queued to go out in this step, who completed here, and who failed. Sometimes if LinkedIn asks for an email, we can't connect with them, it will show up as a failed, so you're fully aware of what's happening. So that's super straightforward. You can also click this button and see who actually finished the automation, so you see a list of that. Once you hit start, you're not able to add new steps, delete steps. The only thing you can do is you can hit, for example, on the message, you can change the content and hit apply. You can update the email template under templates, and it will also be updated. But once you started, you cannot change anything beyond those two aspects: the connection of messages on LinkedIn and the email templates. You cannot swap the different email template, but you can manage it under your saved templates and update it. And then for people going to that step, will then be updated. If you happen to want to redo the entire automation, you can then copy it, and we'll get to that in a second, and then reuse and put people into the new automation at a later stage. So that's the basic of automation. If you run the My Contact starting point, you do need to start it before you enroll people into it, because if you don't do that and enroll them in first, and then hit start, it's going to remove them, and then you need to re-enroll them. So just to make aware of that. That's the basics of how automations are working. So we touched point with the tags. If you want to re-roll them in, again, you can go to prospects, and you can search by the tag that you want, and you get the list when you enter it. I don't know if anybody is saved under this one, probably not. That's a very old tag. But you can also manage your tags right here to delete them at a later point, and you can just enroll them into a new automation. One thing I mentioned was, if I want to change my automation, you can start them under the automation as a star. If I add it, it will show up at the start. You can also see your team automations to clone them, or see your own. So for example, if I want to change this demo one, I will go in and say copy, and I call it demo 1. That way I can clone the automation and reuse it. You can also clone from team members, and it will copy in the templates and everything, so you can clone across your team. That's the basic of automations. And if you noticed in the first video about the starting point, you got the information how they're operating and working. And now we get down to how to build an automation, hit start, and what are the consequences if you want to change it. Now, I want to show one example, and this is a very important example. So we see this over and over again, and we designed a very, very important logic for you into the platform. So once you send a connection request, people have a tendency, because a lot of people automate things. For example, right here, if you write a nice message, once somebody accepts on LinkedIn, it's going to show a message. That message, many people would write, okay, thanks to, and then they get removed for your automation. Now, if that happens, we have a functionality. We can go to Unified Inbox, and if somebody replied, then you can hit them right here. It takes a second to load, and you can hit re-enroll. So basically what we're going to do is we're going to put them back in where they left off in the automation, so we can make sure that they get all the important information you designed. That is how you use automation and re-enroll people back into an automation. Thank you for watching.